We're counting down to the World Cup here on WION World of Cricket, and today we'll be looking at the runners-up of the last edition, New Zealand. The Kiwis have been described as the perennial bridesmaids, and there is a feeling that this is the last chance for their quote-unquote golden generation to win a limited overs World Cup title. To set up their campaign, we're joined by 1996 World Cup winner Dav Whatmore. Dav, the first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about New Zealand is that heartbreaking final defeat 4 years back. You have to say this is the last chance for the likes of Williamson, Bolt and Southee to win that World Cup.
Oh, surely, and in my memory goes back to that awful few minutes when they lost that super over to be the bridesmaid again. But nevertheless, you know, they did well to get there, and I expect them to do well here as also. But yes, you're right. Bolt, Williamson, Southee, you would think would struggle to be there in another 4 years. So with any player who thinks they won't be around the next time, it'll take on a little bit more importance to ensure that they have some really good memories and do well, and hopefully see their team carry the cup.
Yeah, it's nice you spoke about memories there, because they were finalists at the 2015 World Cup as well, and also the 2021 T20 World Cup. So do you think it's important for their legacy, for the likes of Williamson, Southee, Bolt, who've been around for such a long time, that just one more step for them? Do you think it's a bit too far for them this time around?
Well, it probably is, but then we may be seeing it again. You keep knocking on the door and it'll open, I guess. But, you know, I do feel for them. I think they're a very good team, well disciplined. But sadly, you know, they go right the way, but that final hurdle, it just hasn't happened for them.
Okay, it's important to note that they did win an ICC title, the 2021 World Test Championship, but of course they haven't won in the limited overs format. Let's just go through their squad now, Dav. Not many have the Kiwis down as contenders this time around, but if you look at their squad, which we will, they have a pretty well-rounded squad with some good balance. Let's go through their team.
Yeah, that's a good set of batsmen there. You know, they're hard-working boys that just fly under the radar a little bit, but and opposition teams take them a little lightly. And they pay for it. Yeah,
well, Williamson, of course, there are some injury concerns surrounding him, but he played today in the warm-up clash. And Tom Latham has also been very, very consistent. Devon Conway, he's got plenty of experience in India, and he could really be the X-factor if you look at him.
Yeah, surely. He's been a performer. He's no stranger to these conditions. And I also think, you know, he'll be a consistent performer for New Zealand. Then you have opener Youngie, Will Young, Daryl Mitchell, who's another good player, can do both bat and bowl. Mark Chapman has been in good form recently with a lot of runs against Pakistan, and Glenn Phillips also is pushing hard to get in the 11.
Glenn Phillips can really hit the ball out of the park. Let's take a look at their all-rounders now. That's quite a strong unit of all-rounders you've got there. Jimmy Neesham, Mitchell Santner, Rachin Ravindra, who has been playing well off late. Jimmy Neesham and Mitchell Santner, plenty of experience there as well.
Surely, and there's another one or two that could, you know, put their pitches in that category also. So you know, they're not, you know, they're not without enough of options to ensure that they have a very strong team.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the bowlers now. As you said, you know, Ish Sodhi, you know, he could really be an X factor for them, because
any wrist spinner, good wrist spinners will always trouble. And then you have Tim Southee, who is a very experienced player, but sadly will miss the start of it. Bolt, Ferguson, I figure will be in the 11, and then Matt Henry, who could also be in there, but you know, that's a good, decent, hard-working group of boys that, you know, always makes it difficult for the opposition.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice of word. That's what you would associate with the New Zealand cricket of in the last 10 years or so. And of course, they are led by someone who is regarded as one of the great batters of this generation. Of course, Kane Williamson. He's back playing, but
Yeah.
not competitively. I'm not quite sure if he'll play that first.
He hasn't played the
Yeah.
full 50 overs
Yeah,
yet,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's batted in the last two and got runs.
Yeah.
So you'd never know. He just may be going out to toss the coin on that first game.
Yeah, but do you think it's a concern because he hasn't played those 50 overs? You know, he'll be pushed into the thick of things and be expected to perform because he has really held that New Zealand batting lineup together over the years. He's the real anchor. So
there's
does
a
that
lot-
put pressure on him?
Yeah, well, perhaps, but you know, there's a lot of people asking that same question, and fair enough too. But in my opinion, you know, really good players, they don't take much to get back into form. We've seen evidence of that with Stokes. He hasn't played an ODI for a long time, and he gets 100. Okay, Shreyas Iyer took 1 or 2 games to hit his straps, but he's back in there. And I don't see too much of a problem with a Kane Williamson. You know, he'll be very much welcome, you know, back in that 11, and they'll all be hoping he'd be fit enough to play the first game. If he doesn't, then he'll definitely, I'm pretty sure, play the second.
One thing that stands out about Williamson is that he tends to play the situation a lot like Stokes. You know, he can change gears instantly, and suddenly you see an absolutely different player to the one that is regarded as being, you know, a safe. So, I mean, he can really turn it up.
Surely, yeah, they are different players, but each in their own way are very important to their teams. Effective, both effective. But then, this captain in Williamson is he's been their leader as a batsman, and you know, he'll be really, you know, chafing at the bit to come back and play, and the whole team would love him to come back. That's
okay. Unfortunately, that's not the only injury concern that New Zealand have. Tim Southee is also just gone through a fractured thumb.
Yeah.
We're unsure when he'll be back, and that puts a lot of pressure on the other pacers. So how do you think they'll react?
Yeah, I agree. I think he will be missed. He's got terrific experience and variations when he comes to bowling in different parts of that 50 overs. But I rather feel, coming back from fractures, that they can be managed pretty well. And okay, he's not playing the first game, but I'm expecting him to come in, you know, a lot sooner than what people expect. And I think he'll do all right. But you know, it can be managed.
Yeah, that's a good point you make there, Dav, and you speaking about that earlier as well. So you are of the opinion that Williamson and Southee's injuries have been managed very well, and they've sort of eased back, and that's something that the Kiwi management tend to do. They manage their team very well.
Well, that's right. One sadly is an impact injury. Can't be helped. The other one is a longish term injury that needed surgery, and it was strategically placed to get that surgery, so you know, gives him every chance to come back and play in the World Cup, which it's looking like it's going to happen.
Okay, now Southee's partner in crime for a long time has been Trent Bolt. He's no longer contracted with New Zealand. He doesn't have a central contract, but he always makes the team for these big tournaments. It just tells you the value that he adds to the side.
Surely, you know, he's not part of that New Zealand team in bilaterals, but certainly in the big tournaments he's back, and you know, he's a genuine wicket taker. You know, a lot like Stark from Australia and Afridi from Pakistan, all lefties who can bowl a fuller length and make that ball move in the air.
And have troubled India of late.
And have troubled India, yeah. Like, so it's a little bit of a risk and reward. You know, it can be driven. Good players will still get away, get the ball away, but it gives himself every chance to pick up wickets, and that's what you want. You know, with an opening bowler, you're there to get wickets.
Just to go a little off topic here, do you think this will set a template for players in the future? They'll just play these big tournaments, and then, you know, bilateral series, they'll just sit out and prefer to play those T20 franchise leagues?
That's a good question. The temptation is there, isn't it? And
yeah.
they all use the reason of wanting to be with family more. But they also put their names down to play in these lucrative T20 formats. So it wouldn't surprise me. But whether they are invited to play for their countries in these big tournaments will be up to the attitude of certain cricket boards around the world. But in this case, of course, New Zealand has shown a lot of you know, goodwill to get him back and play.
Okay, like their neighbours Australia, New Zealand also have plenty of all-rounders to choose from. Santner, Mitchell, Rachin Ravindra, Neesham. You know, that's a good headache to have, isn't it?
Absolutely, and
We'll
again
just
we
take a
have
look at the
evidence.
all-rounders.
Again, evidence of the team able to bat deep without compromising the skill of the bowling attack. And if you've got 2 to 3 good ones, then it's a hell of an advantage. And we've seen this here. I think Jimmy Neesham is a little underrated too. You know, he's a very good finisher also.
He played in that super over in that 2019 World Cup final.
This young Ravindra also, I think, has got a wonderful future.
Yeah.
He may not get in that 11 to start with, but gee, you know, he's showing a lot of promise, and I'm sure he'll have a bright future and play a lot of games.
Santner as well, plenty of experience in India.
Yeah, surely. You know, he's one that you look to, you know, to calm things down as well in the middle overs and towards the end when it gets a bit hectic. And they're very fortunate to have him.
You know, as we talk about this New Zealand team, they're not half bad. They can spring a surprise.
They're a disciplined team to me. You know, not huge stars, not huge names, but they do the team things well. They're disciplined in what they, and I think they're also good at reading different situations and reacting in the right way.
Okay, Dav, time to pick your head again.
Yeah, let's look at the 11.
Let's look at the 11, New Zealand 11 that you've gone for.
Yep, I'm going to put Kane Williamson in there. All right.
Yes.
Let's have a look.
Kane Williamson, of course, he has played those 2 warm-up matches, but has not played a competitive match for a long time. But, as you said, he's Kane Williamson. There we have it.
Yes, Will Young has been the preferred opener, and Conway also looks to be the one that will partner him. Williamson picks himself, obviously. He's a very good player. Daryl Mitchell, again, a lot of experience. He's also can chip in a little bit with the ball.
With the ball, yeah.
Latham, the wicket-keeper and the vice-captain.
Yes.
Very experienced player. Mark Chapman is a youngster, but he's got also good potential and showing signs of being a good finisher. You know, he's very active also, good between wickets. Jimmy Neesham, we know. You know, he can give you both bat and ball and hit the ball a long way too when he's set. Sodhi, you know, he can handle a bat as well, but wonderful, gets good bounce with his leg spin.
Has done well in India as well.
Has done well in India, has a history of performances. Mitchell Santner, we spoke about a little earlier, experienced left-arm spinner, and you got the 2 quicks.
Team Saudi is not there, of course. We hopefully we'll see him play some part in the tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, time to put you on the spot again. Where do you think this New Zealand will finish? Do you think they'll make the semi-finals?
I think so. You know, but for those reasons that I mentioned, that they are a team that often is taken lightly. They're a team that are well drilled and disciplined. They've got good depth and they got good skill. Again, with teams that are not in the subcontinent area, would need to show me and show everyone else that they're able to cope with the conditions. So they will change a little bit, and I'm expecting also a little bit of dew later in the tournament. And that'll play a part also. So, but certainly they've been figuring in finals in the last 2 editions, and there's no reason to think that they won't continue.
Yeah, and you know, in a high-pressure game, you don't really want to face the likes of Williamson, Southey and Boult, do you?
No, I don't. And I'm not sure they'll lift the cup, but I think they'll shape it.
Okay, well, that was New Zealand's preview. They seem to be everyone's second favourite team, the nice guys, as they are described. And this is the last dance for their golden generation. So hopefully they produce some high-quality cricket. That's it on this episode. Keep watching WION World of Cricket.